Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is Rebel Assault 2, The Hidden Empire for the Sony PlayStation, released by LucasArts in 1995. This game was available for a few different systems, and I originally played this one on PC. Now it's been a long time since I played this on PC, but I am wondering how similar it might be to this version. I mean, I'm pretty sure all the same stuff is there, but I am wondering about the video quality. This is the overall thing with this game. There's a lot of full motion video, which was really big in the 90s. When dealing with FMV, my brain wants to understand the quality of the footage we're looking at. You can use the same full motion video for different platforms, just by adjusting the video quality. You might see this in a bunch of different games from the era. It makes me think actually of the game Night Trap, which uses a lot of footage in a similar fashion. I've played that game on a few different systems. The Sega CD is very different than the PlayStation Vita version. They adjusted the quality of the video. Totally different experience. I'm just not sure how the PlayStation version of this game compares to the PC version of the game. I remember beating the PC version in college, and I liked it a lot. Just don't remember exactly how tight the video graphics were. Now, I think it's important to put this game into at least a little bit of perspective. This is a Star Wars game, and it was released in 1995. At this point in time, the franchise was 20 years old. During that period, there were 3 blockbuster movies, 2 Ewok adventures, a cartoon, close to 100 comic book issues, dozens of paperback books, a huge volume of toys and collateral physical merchandise, and a Christmas special that I saw on television when I was 5 years old and totally forgot about. Actually, I remember the Wookiee kids playing with their toys in that special, and for years I honestly thought I dreamed of it. The bottom line is, there is a sizable volume of materials established in the Star Wars world at that point, and that's before we even start factoring in video games. By the release of this video game, I'm willing to bet there were at least 100 Star Wars games across all the different video game systems and computers. This was also a point in time before the prequel trilogy was a thing, and the franchise was existing and thriving based on games like this, because there were no new movies to propel the universe forward. This was the type of game that kept people engaged in the Star Wars universe. Like I mentioned prior, the game uses FMV, full motion video, which means recorded actors are digitized and they're inserted into game stages. It also uses computer animations, of course. The quality of the video recordings, mixed with the animations or other practical effects that have been digitized, it sort of puts everything together and it kind of makes it feel tangible. I think this was actually one of my biggest problems with some of the newer Star Wars movies. The original movies used practical effects and they looked great. They used physical models, they recorded them to film, and they looked real. When they started making the newer movies, and they were switching mostly to computer effects, it just doesn't look the same to me. My brain can almost always tell the difference between a physical object and a computer-drawn object. At least in the 90s anyway. With this game though, all these images and animations that they use, based on the quality that they chose, it all blends them together and everything kind of looks physically real to me. I really like that. So a little bit about the story. Darth Vader exists, and he'll show up in cutscenes. That's pretty much it. So this is supposed to take place sometime after Star Wars and before Return of the Jedi. You play a rebel character named Rookie 1. You're on patrol and you're shot down. You crash a ship on a planet and you wander around and find an Empire base. I'm not going to go into all of the plot here, but basically, you uncover some sort of a new Empire ship technology and you have to take care of it. This game is a rail shooter. This means you're on a predetermined track and you don't have a ton of freedom to just move around. You play flying levels where you can fly a bunch of different ships, and there are also some shooting levels where you can jump from cover and try to shoot stormtroopers directly. The flying levels in this one, they look great, and I think they're reasonably varied. They're all sort of different environments to an extent, different scenes. You might be in space, you might just be shooting at oncoming ships, you might be in a Corellian Corvette, which is the ship that looks like the Millennium Falcon, and you might be racing through mining tunnels, or you might be flying around an asteroid field. There's variety in that regard. Now, for the flying and shooting stages, as opposed to a stage where you just dodge, you can adjust your point of view from third person to first person, depending on how you prefer to play the game. It's nice to have this ability to change your perspective. Some levels are really difficult in third person. They become more accessible when you're in first, absolutely. Like I said, the flying is on rails, but it's important to know the rails are not perfect, and you have to sort of fine-tune your flying to not crash into certain objects, and you also might need to aim at other ships when necessary. The aiming reticle in this one is not smooth. If you're trying to dodge, specifically you'll see this in the mining level, the controls are strangely sensitive. I find myself bouncing off walls non-stop, and it's really nerve-wracking. I beat this game on PC way back, and getting destroyed on the early levels of this playthrough is really frustrating. Luckily, there are codes available you can find online to unlock all the levels, and you can basically find a way to experience the entire game if you get stuck, so that's nice. The game also starts on medium difficulty. I think that's kind of a bad call. If you want to experience this game, I suggest you bust down the difficulty to easy. Even easy is not necessarily easy, but it feels like you're playing a movie, and naturally, you want to see a movie and you want to experience the journey. I think the story, it's fine. It fits into the Star Wars universe, and it doesn't negatively affect any of the existing stories. Would you consider something like this canon to the franchise? I have no idea. But I have to say, the story hurts and affects nothing, so I imagine it probably is. Now, the acting in this game, it isn't amazing, but it's not terrible either. I guess this is sort of expected 90s video game acting. At least what I would expect. It's going to be better than some, and it's going to be maybe not as good as others. I think if you're a fan of Star Wars, especially of this particular era of Star Wars, you're probably going to like this one for the story, and the fact that you get to play all these different ships, and the levels are nice enough. I don't think you're going to like this one, though, based on the way it handles. You have to adjust to it. It's a little rough. I actually might go looking to see if I still have my PC version around. I would definitely like to see how they compare. Well, that's all I have today for Rebel Assault 2 for the Sony PlayStation. If you like this type of thing, please feel free to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for stopping by to take a look at this one, and I hope to catch you on another video.